What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about what it was like being the only black person in a predominantly white school. Grab your tissues, grab a snack, because this is going to be a long one, ladies and gents. It's so freaking hot, I'm gonna die. So if this is your first time seeing me, hi, hello, I'm Kimana Sawyers. I make videos a lot. I post every Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, and sometimes Saturdays. And yeah, let's just get this video started. I go to a charter school, right? A very small charter school. The reason why I go to a charter school is because I have really bad anxiety. And there's only like 50 kids there. And I've been going there 4 years now. I'm feeling salty right now. So in freshman year, I was the only black person there, like I said. Like, it bothered me because, you know, I felt alone and out of place the second I even got in that school. We were reading like Of Mice and Men, and you know, it was a really old book, and you know, it has the N-word in it, right? So I was like telling my mom, like, hey, like, I don't really like how she's letting the kids say the N-word when we're reading out loud, because she made us read out loud. She did like popcorn reading, and it was really annoying. Thankfully she never picked on me because I don't like reading out loud, but I'm a really good reader when it comes to like reading out loud. Not to brag, but I would let the kids say the N-word a lot, even though she said before we even read the book, like, oh, I don't really like the N-word, but she let the kids say it. So I went home and I was like, hey, I don't like it, can you like talk to her about it, because I don't know what to say. So my mom sent this really long email to her, and then we talked the next day. I read your mom's email and I get what you're saying, but we're just gonna change the word. And I thought, you know, she was gonna not say it at all at first, but like she ended up changing the word, and if we stumble on that word, we had to replace it with crook or negro. And I was just like, are you freaking kidding me right now? What? So that made me feel even worse about myself, because everyone was saying it when we were like popcorn reading. I felt very uncomfortable, and I felt like opinions and my feelings didn't matter. And it went on for a long time, because we had to read like To Kill a Mockingbird, and it happened with that. So every time I went to English class, I was always having panic attacks because I didn't like hearing the word, because I didn't really hear it until I got to that class. Especially how it's so outdated and that it's in the curriculum. I just didn't like the fact that I had to read a book that my grandma read and that my great-grandma read and everyone in my family that basically read, and it just made me feel uncomfortable, because it's like it should change. But that should be a different video. I'm not gonna go too in depth with that. She kept telling me it wasn't part of the curriculum and that we shouldn't do anything to change it. Every time I would sit down and read my book, I would always be tapping my leg a lot, and I never did that until I went to that class. And I would just be it would just be shaking the whole period, and it was like an hour-long period too. And I was just like wanting to leave all the time. Just made us look, you know, they were degrading us even more. So I was just like, no. There was like other black people there, but they didn't last too long in there. I think I was like the only one that actually lasted the 4 years being there, you know. People noticed that. So there was just one girl that was also black, and she came from like a broken home, and so I had like a soft spot for her, and also like I didn't feel alone. And when she came in the class and was like, you know, the teacher introduced us to her and that we're gonna have like a new kid in the class, I was excited. So I talked to her a few times at lunch and stuff with my other friends, and we like put her in my little group. She had to transfer for some odd reason. She didn't last that long. She lasted maybe like a couple of months, and I did follow her on Instagram, and there was this one time where I liked her, to be honest. You remember when those days happened, like TBH, you know, or rate, you know. I liked one of her pictures, and then she was like, to be honest, you're ugly. To think that I had like a soft spot for her, it really kind of hurt me. I wasn't expecting that. Like, I didn't know why I was always so nice to her, but I saw that DM. Hey, stop! Talked to her and all that. So she was out of the school for a long time, and no one spoke of her for a very long time. Then there was this other girl when I was like a sophomore, and she was a junior. I don't even have her Instagram, and I never got it, and I'm sad about that because she was really chill and I really liked her. We always talked a few times because we always went to like math support and stuff, because I am horrible at math, and so I was always at math support, and so was she. So we were always talking and making jokes a lot, but she didn't last that long either. So, you know, gradually I started feeling alone, even more alone, even though I had friends with me. People kept leaving. So Up staying and suffering for a very long time. I wanted, you know, to feel like someone understood me, you know, at that school. I have a best friend that's white, and you know, every time she would notice that I was sad or something, she's just like, why are you sad? And why were you acting weird at school? Like, and it would be something that happened or someone made a comment about my people, I would feel uncomfortable. And I would explain it to her, but then I would be like, you don't understand because you're white, and I don't expect you to understand. Where, you know, people would make comments when, you know, when Black Lives Matter was around in 2015 and they were like all over the news and stuff, that was probably the most uncomfortable time to be in an all-white school, to be honest. It was really devastating. We had to watch the news, CNN news every time we went into history class. People being shot, and then they'll show like the protest, and then after the period was done, people would talk about it and like make jokes about it and just be like really rude about it. And you know, I would try to like shift the conversation to something different because I was just so tired of hearing it. It just hurt my heart, and I always felt so uncomfortable, and I hated just being there. And you know, I was kind of glad that it simmered down because I didn't want to hear about it at school anymore, you know. And that sounds really selfish, but I do. So I don't know, I gotta put it in the back of my head. But watching those people getting shot always just, it gave me a lot of panic attacks. I didn't like seeing that. I would try to look away, but then I would have to hear the noise, and it just did not set well with me. Sometimes I would just like ask to go to the bathroom just to have like a breather for a minute, and it was just really heartbreaking, honestly. The more and more I go in depth with this story, I just get really sad. And it sounds really sad, but I dealt with it for 4 years because I live in an all-white town. There's barely any minorities here, and I lived here for 5 years. And you know, before I lived here, I lived in a mostly Hispanic community town, so made fun of. So I always felt out of place, you know. But in senior year, I met this guy, and he's 2 years younger than me, and he's a sophomore right now. He's also black, and so when I saw him, I was like happy when the school year started because I was like, oh wow, cool. Surprisingly, he's still really cool, but you know, when we first met, he was like, oh my god, are you the only black person here or something like that? I don't remember what he said, but he's like, oh, we have to stick together. And I was like kind of talking to him and like telling him stuff about me, and then he would say that, but then he wouldn't talk to me ever again. He would try to like talk to me every so often, but it was kind of rare. And we have like we hang around two different groups, and I don't really like the people that he hangs around, so I was just like, I don't know. So I wasn't too bothered by that, but I didn't feel as alone, but I still felt alone. It's really weird to explain. Cope with being different. I've always known that I was different, especially knowing that I have like a learning disability. I always knew that I was different. It's just really hard. But actually a couple months ago, my teacher was talking to me because like we had a debate, and she was like, oh, we should talk about the racial profiling thing because that was one of our topics in the debate, lessons that we were learning. So I was like, she's like, we should go against the juniors, and I was just like,
are you sure about that?
And you know, I talked to her after class, and I was like, I don't really think you should do this. Like, I feel like I'm being, you know, always targeted over here. Telling them that she wants to put more exposure to the kids because, you know, they were all kind of like closed-minded, and they only thought one way and one way only. So she was trying to expose them to more cultures and more stuff and more issues that are actually going on in the world, but I just didn't like the way she did it, you know. I feel like she could have handled it way differently, but she didn't. So she was like, you know, I actually really admire you, and she was like telling me that she was like, oh, you're very strong for being here and lasting this long or something like that. It was really weird. But as she was like complimenting me, she was doing this weird neck thing. Like, she didn't want to compliment me, but she was trying to be nice, or I don't know. I don't think she is used to complimenting people. So she was doing that weird neck thing as she was complimenting me, and she was calling me strong and brave and all this crazy stuff. Neck was just like, she was doing this, and I've never seen her do that before. And I've known her for 2 years now. Thanks. Experience these 4 years of, and actually it's been my whole life of being different, so this is like just made me stronger as a person. And you know, being different is okay. Not to feel ashamed of being you. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of long. Likes, comment, subscribe, and because it helps me out. And see you next time. Bye.